Welcome to Colorado. We are in our home state. Decided to go for an afternoon ride, my son Caleb and I, and we trailered the bikes up to Lyons, Colorado, unloaded them down in Lyons, and rode the canyon for about 10 to 15 miles. Really flowy, fun, and then Caleb knew of this trail, and it's the first time we've had these bikes out in Colorado on these trails. 3 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, we were in Moab. And the riding in Moab is a lot different. Yes, there's sharp edges, 2 to 4 inch sharp edges, but it's probably more flowy, slick rock, one of my favorite places. This is more challenging at times. You've got a lot of boulders, big granite outcroppings. It just adds a level of challenge to it. We got snow. It's the first part of April, and we're kind of making our way through. So, just want to visit. Caleb and I have swapped back and forth today, so we kind of gotten a feel how these two bikes compare. I know some of the comments people are saying, and how do they compare? This is more an off-road bike, and it's true. That's an entry-level bike. That's great value, but it's two bikes we own, and we love comparing them. So I'm gonna ask Caleb a few questions, and then I'll kind of give my opinion of what I thought today, and we'll go from there. Caleb, you've got a lot of riding experience. From motocross, off-road, you started when you were 3 years old. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so started riding a four-wheeler when I was 3 years old around the house. Got on a dirt bike around 5 years old. Did some little trail riding in Moab, different areas in Colorado. And then as I got older, to my teenage years, I started riding motocross a lot. Local motocross tracks, did some racing with that.
Did some training. We had a professional trainer for several years train you.
Yep, so did a lot of riding, a lot of motocross riding, and then mixed in with some enduro riding just on family trips to Moab and different places as well. So primary focus with motocross, but enduro as well, so it's not unknown to me in any fashion.
And I don't know where he got his long legs, but the things he can do, he can come in a trail right here and do a pirouette, keep going the same direction, and his skills are amazing. So we'll see more of that down the road, but
yeah,
thanks,
for reference, standing next to these bikes, I'm 6'2", 34-inch inseam, 180 pounds.
Yeah.
And then that's just kind of how these bikes fit me.
Yeah, it fits you well. I'm 5'10", 205, 30 to 31 inch inseam. So even with the taller seat on the CFMoto, I can't quite touch flat-footed, and this is a standard seat here on the Kove 800, and I'm a little tippy-toed, but they still fit us well.
Yeah.
When we were headed to Moab 3 weeks ago, Caleb asked me the question, what's the purpose of adventure bikes, Dad? If we're gonna ride dirt bikes, let's ride dirt bikes. If we're gonna ride street bikes, let's ride street bikes. And I said, after this trip, I think you'll get a good feel of what an adventure bike is and what we can do on them. And we're experiencing that now. So Caleb, tell us a little bit about your opinions from canyon riding on these bikes, the technical, we swap back and forth, you can kind of compare the bikes a little bit. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, so started down in Lyons, we unloaded from the truck, and we had about 15 miles of canyon cruising. These bikes side by side, I'll walk up to this one first every time if I want to ride the road. For a few reasons.
Okay, tell us why.
It's smooth, engine's smooth, it's easy to ride. Something as simple as the windshield, which we put on a little bigger windshield, is nice to have. The wind noise is a lot less. You're not getting blasted in the face the whole time.
And we've got this adjustment, which when you first saw that, you said, that's genius.
Yeah, it's great. Every bike should have this, every bike. So yeah, it's great. So it's smooth. It's not a lot of power, especially we're up here probably close to 6,000-7,000 feet.
They're probably a little higher, 8 to 9.
A little higher elevation. On a 450, it's not a lot of power. But even with that, I'll still choose this every day for going up and down the canyon. The tires are nice and balanced. It's smooth. It's easy to lean. It's comfortable to sit on. And it's just easy. It's comfortable.
And I think when you're talking about the tires, bud, those are tubeless.
Yep.
So they're smoother. You don't have the rim locks. You don't have to balance the wheels. This one has the rim locks. We put weights on the front. and it really toned this down on the road because this had hop. It just had the hop.
Yeah,
where
it's
this
a
one
lot better than it came, but no matter what, it's not as smooth as a balanced setup here.
I agree.
So we did about 15 miles cruising in the canyon. It was fun, not very fast, 40, 50 miles an hour. Made a turnoff and got to our trailhead. We hopped up the trail and immediately found some snow. It's springtime, early April. Didn't know if we were gonna be able to do this trail or not, but there's some patches here and there, but it's not too bad. But we started heading up the trail, pretty rocky and slippery from the snow. Everything's wet, tacky, some spots a little muddy with a little snow melt going on. And we swapped back and forth a few times, went up a section, we swapped bikes, go up another section, swap bikes again. And the CFMoto, they're just different beasts, but a very capable bike. It's, again, easy. The power is not overwhelming. It's easy on the throttle. You're not gonna break the rear wheel loose and slide yourself out of control. And it's fun to ride in that aspect. The hard part is the suspension a little bit. We got some bigger rocks, loose rock. I banged in the bash plate a couple times, bouncing over some roots, and it's just a little bit more harsh. A little bit harsher on the hands.
What's your thought? I could tell a difference right away on how the front end handled. In our last video, my buddy Mike talked about that. You could really tell a difference how the front end's handled, and I could tell that coming up some rocky sections. What's your thoughts? Could you feel how these bikes differed when you're kind of going up over little ledges and rocks and bouncing around? Tell me what you thought about the differences on how the front end handled.
Right, so CFMoto, I'd say it feels a little heavier. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. One being that it is heavier. And another position is rider position, sitting or standing. I think when you sit on this bike, you sit more into it. And it feels like you're sitting more inside the front end. So what that does is makes it feel heavy. It's easy to touch the ground, which is helpful, but it feels heavy. Whereas I hop on the Kove, and it feels light. I feel like I'm on top of the bike, more similar to a dirt bike feel. And the steering's light as well. And it's easy to pop that front end up and keep it on top of those rocks instead of kind of plowing through them more so with the CFMoto.
That's exactly what I thought. And buddy, I'm glad that you went first on your opinion because I wanted to hear what you had to say. In our last video, when we weighed, or a couple of videos ago, the front ends, going by memory, but the front end on this, I think, is 35 pounds heavier, close to it, maybe 30 pounds heavier on the front end versus this. And coming up through the rocky section, the first thing I could tell is absolutely this front end not only felt lighter, it felt easier to control. I could maneuver around those rocks quicker, and this one felt like it was more, I'm along for the ride. I'm plowing through those rocks instead of maneuvering through them. And the second thing, I am picky on the clutch, really picky on the clutch. This clutch just feels so mushy and there's not a consistent engagement. That's one of my biggest complaints. Where this bike, you can really feather the clutch through the rocky sections so you don't stall, you can feather the power. And in the beginning, I rode this and I swapped back on that. And I told Caleb, I said, all right, the rest of the trip, I'm riding this. I just feel more comfortable on it. I feel more in control. But he's correct. On the road, this thing's a dream. It doesn't vibrate, it's smooth. You feel a little bit of vibration through the handlebars and the foot pegs on this. So road bike, much better.
So we got to a tough spot back there. It was a little snow covered, some rocks, and then some bigger rocks. I mean, good size, almost a ledge coming up and down.
Yeah.
We pulled up to that, stopped, looked at it, and what'd you say?
I said, I'm not riding up that, buddy. I will get the camera, you get to ride both bikes up that, and I'm gonna film it. While we're talking about it, here comes this young kid on a 300 two-stroke. We're gonna put a little video, attach that in here. He just got back from a hard enduro, which one was it?
It was Grinding Stone in Arizona.
Grinding Stone, Arizona, yeah. And they just make things look so easy. When he went up that, and then Caleb went up that, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't. Caleb's got a 34-inch inseam, I got a 30 to 31. I didn't want to stall in the middle of those rocks and do a stall and fall.
Right.
So
I ended up riding both the bikes up, took one up, walked back down, rode the other.
What was your feelings going up that?
Yeah, it was a different experience, completely different. Something unique that I noticed, it's the same trends. The front end felt heavy. You know, it's sitting more forward on it, not quite as confident as I feel on the Kove. And the interesting thing I noticed is the visibility. So I wasn't going all that fast. It's kind of a mixture of sitting and standing. I had to make a little bit of a left turn and then make another right turn up some more rocks. When I was making that right turn, I was sitting back on the bike a little bit, and it has a very big...
this bike,
yeah. On the CFMoto. It has a very big gas tank, big front end, and fairings here. And it blocked a lot of my view of those rocks that I had to go over. So I ended up sitting back down, kind of adjusting and going back up the rest of the way, and made it to the top. I walked back down, got on the Kove, and did the same line, rode back up, and didn't have that problem. The front end felt nice and light. Suspension has a lot more travel, a lot smoother over those jagged rocks, and I got to the top. So I didn't notice that. I didn't think about that visibility issue in the moment. Not until after I got on the Kove, and it was just simply I could see better. So my line choice was a lot easier to see on the Kove. It's just something that stood out to me.
Good observation.
Yeah, after the fact.
Now I think the type of riding we're doing, because we're more extensive off-road. 20 years experience. Caleb started when he's a little tyke in Moab, and we're taking these bikes probably places the majority of people aren't going to take them. But that's something we like. That's something we want to challenge. We're going to challenge the bikes, challenge ourselves, and I'm trying to keep up with my young son, and I'm going to keep trying. So we're going to have a couple reviews down the road about bags. On our second set of bags, the first set ripped in Moab, and we'll talk about those later. We're also going to talk about my new airbag vest. 3 weeks ago in Moab, I came off twice. Stalled and falled on this once, hit a ledge too fast on this, plowed into a ledge, went over the handlebars, landed right here. I think I cracked a couple ribs. So when I came home, I invested in this, and we'll talk more about it. Alpenstars, brand new vest, came out in May. I hope I'm not going to have to use it soon, but more than likely I will. So we'll do a review on this. So we got a ways to go to get home. We're going to do some more riding and maybe a little more filming. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Let's get to it.